Welcome to SportsGrid. It's been quite a week. Here's a look of what you might have missed.
I just don't think you've seen this yet. And I think it's knowing where you're leaning tonight, here is behind the scenes, every single one of them, their best bet is Knicks money line.
Wow.
They could have,
you know what?
They could have talked it out and said, you give it out. They're all on Knicks money line, Gabe.
I like the shot. I like the shot big time. I mean, they look like high rollers, great graphics. With that build-up, I figured, you better lead with these picks right now. But I gotta say, anytime I see like an entire panel from any network on one side, I know there's trouble. So it looks like I don't have a choice but to go up against Kofsky, AJ, and Sam.
100%.
They look like bowling. They look like bowling pins, too. I'm just going to roll a bowling ball and knocking them down with the Spurs tonight. There you go.
I don't even think – listen, we obviously got to use some trickery to make I don't even think Chris owns that outfit. Like, I think Chris also I don't even think he has that shirt in his closet. Like, I think I've seen AJ wear that pullover.
I want to personally say the graphics are awesome. And I'll congratulate Sam, the only one that showed up like he looked like he was ready for a photo shoot. Right? Looking good. Right, looking good right there. I mean, you go that way, like, you know what I mean? It was 8, come on, Kofsky. You're going to bust it out here. You guys want to look like high rollers, the big pick tonight?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. It's almost too trendy that everybody just sort of thinks the Knicks are going to bounce back tonight. And, I've been watching. I watch a lot of different stuff, and, I'm World Cup, and I'm obviously fired up for the basketball, but let's just call it out for what it is. ESPN's just like a New York Knicks pregame show, 24 hours a day. Even if you like the Knicks in a day, I got to tell you, Kevin, like it's gotten to me a couple of times. We're like, it's a Knicks spot. 10 minutes of Stephen A. and Malika and their guest, and I'm like, you know what? Spurs by 18. And by the end of it, I'm just like, all right, we get it. Every rapper from New York likes the Knicks. Okay, we got it.
Sure, yeah.
Well, you can't find someone from Texas that likes the Spurs. It's like a New York Knicks show. I swear to God, I got no beef with the Knicks players. There's a line in a band, Kevin, a band called Sloan. They have a famous line in one of their songs. It's not the band I hate, it's their fans. I got no beef with like OG and Brunson and stuff, but I look over and see Tina Fey and Shamalette there and stuff. Like, it's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, it sort of just makes me pull for the Spurs. I can't lie.
Taylor
Swift is in the house tonight. Oh,
which is fantastic.
She's a hardcore Knicks fan, right? I know.
Gabe, I actually think that's Taylor's not pretending that she's a Knicks fan. She's just here to watch great basketball.
No, she's there because it's the place to be.
Sure, right? That's great. I think that's good.
Like I warned you about, like the other 16,000 frauds that were in the arena the other night, right?
You know what, Gabe? A lot cheaper to get in.
I thought that too, but it's not. I do agree. Number one, you don't have the circus outside. There's going to be a different vibe tonight. But I'll be honest. I saw people, Kevin, had paid money and stuff, and they said, wow, that really kind of was anticlimactic. And the Spurs, basically, you and I talked about it. They don't fear MSG, the Spur kids.
No, certainly not.
They don't.
No,
and we talked about Harper and Castle being very comfortable back on the East Coast.
Yeah.
They were. They were. I tell you, guys, how about this? Never, and we talk about the greatness of the Stanley Cup Finals, Kevin. Just wild stuff, bro. Like big drama. We're tied at 2.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. But in the history of the NBA Finals, we've never had the road team winning the first 4 games before. So tonight would be history if the Spurs were able to pull this off and actually win the game on the road tonight. It'd be the first time ever that the road team won the first 4 games of the NBA Finals, Kevin.
Yeah, it would be. It's very funny, and I actually think this is one of the beautiful things about the way the NBA postseason is set up. The Knicks have all this goodwill. Win game 1, right? We're like, oh, is the series over? They win game 2. Oh, I guess it is over. The Knicks got more pressure than the Spurs tonight. If the Knicks don't win tonight, you might as well cancel the series, is what everybody's going to say.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6.
Right.
They win tonight. It's like, oh, this is done. They go back home to San Antonio with the win.
Yeah, win by 100.
And just the ultimate cruelty. Knicks lose at home in front of their fans, just that little,
right?
Just like they lost at home to the San Antonio Spurs.
Spence, let's go into this here with the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference. In your opinion, would it be in the best interest of college sports for those teams or for those leagues to merge and be a super conference, or do you think it would hurt the rest of college sports?
Well, it definitely would. And when you say hurt the rest of college sports, obviously when you have the revenue generating sports of football and basketball essentially driving the ship, certainly those heretofore referred to as Olympic sports would feel that. No question about it. And that's the dirty little secret that we don't talk about nearly as much. It's not much of a secret, but those sports are being undergirded by the revenue that comes in from football and basketball, mainly football disproportionately. So, it would impact those other sports. But you know what? You got to decide who you are. And that's part of the problem. The NCAA wants its cake and they want to eat it too. They want to be nonprofit. They want to have this moral imperative. There was a time when I remember when they had an oath you used to take before you signed with the national letter of intent. All that stuff is fairy tale, man. There is no material difference between how they function and how the NFL functions, right? And it gets closer and closer each year. And I think they need to just peel back the layer, like taking off a Band-Aid, and just say, hey, look, this is who we are. And not be offended. I mean, we see it happening piecemeal with Utah. Going private equity, that may be a bridge too far because they're a public institution. Once again, I come back to the presidents and chancellors. What a dumb move that is. How far do you think that that's going to last when you have private equity cutting as many people that they've cut from that program in terms of employees, and you're a public institution? You're taking government money, but yet you're managing one other aspect of your business unless you roll that totally off and said, hey, look, that is a for-profit enterprise, kind of like Michigan did its health facilities, its hospital, and that's possible, but this is football. It's not hospital, not an altruistic thing like medicine or something like that. It's different. We need to pull away the veneer, call football what it is. It's a revenue-generating sport with participants in it that should earn wages commensurate with what their value is. Doesn't have to be NFL kind of money, no. But it has to be more than we've historically acknowledged it, and we're there now. It just can't have all this rancor attached to it, which you hear with people like Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban of the world. And that can't exist. These guys are worthy of their hire. There's an old principle that says you don't muzzle the ox, man, and that's what they're still wanting to do.
Here's my problem with the college football playoff. This is an ESPN event.
Yeah.
And if you've got broadcast rights, Spence, and you've got broadcast obligations to, say, the ACC or the SEC, how are you not influenced by that when you've got shareholders and people that you've got to deal with when you're talking about picking teams for a 12-team tournament? I mean, shouldn't it be an outside source or entity that picks these teams? Because I don't know how you're not influenced by that.
Yeah, you got to be influenced, and this is not a value judgment. I'll say this real quickly. Look at what's happening in our old network at CBS on the network level. I mean, I don't need to say anything more than what's happening there with venerable institutions all of a sudden disappearing. That's not happening because someone's making financial decisions. That is politics at play, right? And whether you like it, you just think it's justified or not, we know that politics are part of this whole situation. I think ultimately, if you're trying to expand to say 24 or something like that, you cannot do that with a straight face, or you're looking purely at what is going to benefit you from on the football side. Yeah, the networks want all the inventory, but the bottom line is how those students are going to get even more time out of class and be away from situations where they need to be in school. You're crying, as Nick Saban is, about it used to be about education. Okay, you're going to expand to 24. You're going to take them out another additional 2 or 3 weeks out of school even more. So it's even less about education. So again, every constituency has its value.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one to elevate you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Been a great week here on SportsGrid. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights that you might have missed.
To talk about the World Cup, Marcelino Ortiz joins us right here on SportsGrid. And Marcelino, I don't want to waste any time. This thing begins with Mexico against South Africa. Tell me what you are expecting heading into this massive match.
First of all, thank you for having me here. Latin Nation Football Club is so excited because this is the time that we've been waiting. For the next week, we're going to be live every day here on SportsGrid as well, reporting on Copa Nation, the coverage for the World Cup. And as you said, I'm excited. This is the opportunity for Mexico to make it far in the tournament. They have everything going for them. They play at home in the most iconic stadium in the continent. They have a very good lineup, if you ask me, the best that we can put in. And South Africa is going to struggle when they come out on the pitch and they look around and they see over 100,000 Mexicans cheering for their team. It's going to be tough for them. So I think that Mexico is going to take this game 3-0, my friends. I think that they're going to come out and make a statement. They have everything.
Interesting. Yeah, like the total, of course, 2.5. And a lot of people are thinking the under, but I could see them making a statement as well. I'm a little concerned. So as you mentioned, Mexico only made the quarterfinals twice. Both times they happened to host, 1970, 1986. So here we go again right now, Marcelino. Very favorable group. Win the group, stay in Mexico, playing around a 32 game. Then you get into the final 16. I did place a bet, Mexico to win the group at minus 137. I played Mexico to make the final 116, the final 16 at minus 120. But quarterfinals, can they make the final 8, Marcelino?
It really depends on the path that they see. If they are clever, they take the opportunities and they make it as first place in the group, I feel like they will have an easy path. Now, if they do not perform in the group stage, if they drop points and they get too comfy, especially with Czechia, I think that is the most critical game for the Mexican team. That third game is a team that they don't know how they play. Very, obscure players, if you ask me. Some of them are known, but they might surprise them. Now, here's the problem. If Mexico ends up in second place, they might end up having a very difficult draw. Silver lining is that they will play in Los Angeles, which is local team for them as well.
Against Canada, Marcelino, just for the record, it would potentially, if Canada, but imagine, like you said, imagine Canada upsets and wins the group. Suddenly Switzerland would be that game, bro.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is Mexico, to have an easy path and make it far, They need to win the 3 games in the group stage. They have what it takes, but again, if you were to bet on one of those games not to go to Mexico, it will be the Checha. I think that is going to be a very difficult game for Mexico because they are not familiar. South Africa is the reprise of another World Cup. We know them, and I feel Mexico has the edge. So let's see what happens. I think that this is going to be exciting, but also then Thursday, we have another big game. Yeah. Paraguay is going to try to steal a point from Los Angeles Stadium or SoFi Stadium from the U.S. I don't see it happening. I think that the U.S. will come. Just like Mexico, they have everything to make a statement, and they need to. That stadium is going to be full of American outlaws waiting for their team to show that they're finally ready for prime time.
Marcelino. Let me throw this in here, Kevin. Sorry, Kevin and Marcelino, but just for the U.S. and Paraguay. You know, guys, the USA, since 2025 in international play, 74% of their games have had over 2.5 goals. They're actually one of the higher scoring teams. Spain is number 1, but USA actually, like I said, 73% of their games. But Paraguay don't want to get into a track meet here, Marcelino. I'm sort of thinking 1-0 USA here. What do you think about that? 1-0, 2-0 USA? What's your score?
2-0, famoso 2-0. That's a score that the U.S. really, really liked. Ask me for all those Mexico-U.S. games. But I feel like the U.S. has everything to win. Now, Paraguay, they had a wishy-washy qualification process. They were not as effective. They struggle with some of big teams. I know them very well because they play Mexico very often, and Paraguay can be a tricky team. But to be honest, the top 3 that the U.S. is going to play, whoever they are, either is Pepe, Lagoon, they have everything that they need to destroy Paraguay. I feel Paraguay is going to play on a block in the back. They're going to try to, like you said, minimize the amount of goals that they take so they can actually maybe get a point up versus Algeria. You know, like there's a lot of planning there that's going to happen. But my goal, my thing is the U.S.
This story with the Chicago Bears, you and I have been going back and forth with this thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really moving out of Chicago?
They don't have a site. They have where they'd like to put it, but they don't even have a site yet. This is a long process to go, Dan. I think that what's funny about this is it's become a political football because they're blaming Governor Pritzker and they're blaming Brandon Johnson, talking about Bear fans. The same Bear fans who have crucified the McCaskies for 40 years, all of a sudden seem to think that the McCaskies, who are inherited an $8 billion team, don't have to pay property tax. And there's been a lot of stuff that's been uncovered. For instance, the Chicago Bears have a guy named Patrick Ryan, who's worth $11 billion and owns the Ryan Sports Group. And he's a minority owner of 20%. His partner, Andrew McKenna, owned 2 of the 20% and died. Okay? And that 20% saved the Bears from being in debt in 1990. Do you know the Bears fought him for 1% of the 2? Instead of just giving him the 2%. This is what we're dealing with in this town. The Chicago Bears right now are getting the worst PR they could have after a beautiful season. They are absolutely, look, Pritzker was 6 years old when I was first promised the stadium, the governor, and Brandon Johnson wasn't alive. And the McCaskey family, Virginia, okay, they weren't supposed to own the team at that time, and they never were in the plans. So you got a group of people that were never going to be included in any plans to move the team. I already got a name for them. They're the Hammond 219ers, as far as I'm concerned. Because, people are trying to say.
All right, good stuff there. We're just getting started. We'll be right back.
Welcome to SportsGrid. It's been quite a week. Here's a look at some of what you might have missed.
This is probably not going to be a popular take here, but Cap Ferrara and I were talking about Barry Bonds in the steroid era. I'll tell you this, bring it back. Everybody needs a villain. And I'll tell you what, Barry Bonds, I have never seen a better baseball player in my entire life. I was doing the post-game show for the San Francisco Giants back in the day, and the guy would come on my show. Cap, every time I showed up at the ballpark, the guy hit a homer. He's the only guy with 500 stolen bases and 500-plus home runs. He's got 7 Gold Gloves. He's the greatest baseball player that's ever lived. I don't hear anything about steroids, especially when he had Eric Gagne back in the day, who was on juice himself. There was no rules against steroids back in the day.
So this is one of my favorite things right here. I tell everybody that will listen, Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter of all time. Hands down, there is no question. Now, I could make an argument here that and say, and I know where I think you know where I'm going to go with this, that Shohei Ohtani is the greatest player to ever play. I mean, right now, in this very moment, he's hitting better than Aaron Judge and pitching better than Paul Skeens. I mean,
that's crazy.
Take that in for just a moment. Like, right? Like, and I mean, that's so hard to even comprehend that he's doing that on both sides, right? But back to Barry Bonds. He is the greatest hitter of all time. And I don't care what anybody says. Look at like interviews with Greg Maddux where he says the only way you pitch to Barry Bonds is you don't pitch to him, right? That's one of the greatest of all time, saying you flat out just don't throw to the guy. He is the best hitter of all time.
The Golden Ball winner. So what is that? I never heard of that before. It's actually the best player in the World Cup, which if I'm listed here, Lamine Yamal for Spain, 13%, Joe. Mbappe for France, 11%. Harry Kane for England, 9%. And look at who shows up next there at 9%. Lionel Messi as well, Joe. Who gets the golden ball for you?
I mean, you got a couple of different guys that you can go with, but how do you not go with Mbappe, right? I mean, most people believe that France are going to be right there anyway, so... And he is. He's also one of the most hated guys, too, which is very strange. Yeah. But, yeah, I think maybe he is the guy to beat here unless something crazy happens.
How about Erling Haaland, who scores like, I don't know, 3 goals a game, it feels like the past couple of years over there in the EPL. He's at a 2% chance and a 3% contract, which means you think he does some damage for Norway? A $100 investment pays back $334. How about the Golden Glove winner? Now, Joe, we've heard the Golden Gloves right here in the United States. Like, that means who can throw best hands here in state competitions. That's not what that means on the World Cup level, Joe. It means who's the best goalie out here. Emiliano Martinez, Argentina, the favorite, at a 20% chance, Joe. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Apparently, they got a good goalie.
Yeah, got a great goalie here, Donnie, and the market is telling you to having them at priced up at the top here. You gotta love it. Goals are going to be hard to come by, mostly because the defense they play too is pretty stifling here. You don't get a ton of shots on him, but the ones that you do, he usually is really good at making sure they don't hit the back of the net.
And I thought it was interesting that Brandon Ayuk decided to just go completely off the rails publicly, calling the 49ers stupid for paying him $50 million.
We have it.
I want you to hear this. This is Brandon Ayuk, who is no longer with the San Francisco 49ers, apparently.
I mean, he is technically,
but there's no way he's playing.
And they voided his contract. He signed a big contract after 2024. They voided out all the guarantees in 2026.
Moving forward, right?
Yeah, so this year he doesn't have to be on the team, but at the moment, he's still a 49er.
Here's Brandon Ayuk taking a shot at the Niners. Go ahead.
And another thing, you want to know why they really mad, though? They mad because they stupid. They dumb. They mad that they pay me $50 million in 8 months and then voided my guarantees for 2027. And I'm about to be on a new team in 2027. They mad at they selves for real. Acting like they mad at me, but they stupid ass mad at they self.
Yeah, let me help Brandon Ayuk out here. They're not mad at themselves. They're mad at you.
Yes.
Because they gave you $50 million, whatever the actual number is. Because they viewed you as wide receiver one. They believed in you. right? When they made some house cleaning decisions and decided that they were going to put all their faith and belief in you as their new wide receiver one, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that look, injury is a part of it, obviously. If you watch Brandon Ayuk play, he's a hell of a player when he's healthy.
And that'll do it. Hope you enjoyed this week's content, and certainly hope you'll come back and join us again next week here on the SportsGrid Network.
In-game live. Let's get after it, man. World Cup 2026 coverage continues. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency. What a start that we have already had today. Ecuador get the 3 points they needed against Germany. A draw would have not been good enough. They conceded 2 minutes in. Ivory Coast handled business against Curacao. Right now, the stage is set in one of, I think, the more complicated windows we have. The Netherlands against Tunisia, Japan against Sweden. Gabe, set the stage here. How are you betting these two games?
Yeah, it might be complicated, Kevin, but I got 10 picks to give for these two contests combined. And that does not include all the other sort of parlays and alt line plays that I have. But let's get after it right now. Japan need to win. Both Sweden and Japan are playing for the win. Japan technically need a draw to advance, but they could. They want to do better. They want to win. Sweden are looking for a win. I'm expecting there to be goals in this game, but I think Japan are the better side. You're getting Japan to plus 125 right now, Kevin. I like the over 2.5 there. I like no card in the first hydration break. So no card before the first hydration break. You guys know that Japan haven't had a single yellow card in the tournament so far, Kevin. Right? Wow. They're very polite, right? They're respectful people. They don't play that way. So zero yellow cards. Yeah. Zero yellow cards for Japan. So we're on under 2.5 in this game. And we also bet Sweden to have more cards at plus 120 as well. Give me Ueda to score a goal at plus 160 for the Japanese. Now we get into the Netherlands. Listen, they're big favorites, but they're big favorites for a reason. And they also haven't locked things up either yet, right? If they lost or even if they drew, etc., people could pass them. They want to win this game, and they're going to win by margin. Lay the 2.5 at plus 100. We went Netherlands, Kevin, minus 1.5. Paraguay, Australia, under 2.5, minus 121. Netherlands, minus 1.5. And cover your ears, Team USA. Turkey, Kevin, plus 2.5.
No, I don't disagree.
Plus 2.5, plus Turkey, plus 2.5. So Netherlands, minus 1.5. The Turks, plus 2.5. And finally, in closing, Netherlands and Tunisia, under 2.5 cards.
Well, we just got Netherlands on the board first.
That didn't take long.
2.5 minutes in. And I want to kind of set the stage for everybody as to, and again, you kind of knew Gabe would just make sure, hey, listen, the action's loaded. Japan-Sweden is a little confusing. So I'll just let people know what I did. Light, cautious, took a shot on. It's an awful own goal. It's Gabe. This is going to drive me nuts. Gabe, it's worse than the Australia-USA own goal. Gabe, it's worse than the Australia-USA own goal. It's worse. Wait till you see it. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts.
What do you got the under here?
So here's what I did.
Crazy?
No. Here's what I did do is crazy. I bet Japan to win the group at plus 420.
All
now,
right.
It was going to take a lot, but I don't think Sweden are good. And I felt that Tunisia could maybe show some of the fight that Haiti did. They fired a manager. You could argue no team has been more embarrassed than Tunisia on this World Cup stage. So if Japan were to win 2-0 and the Netherlands were to win 2-1, you would see Japan finish top of this group. Now, obviously, that's not going to be an easy thing to get, but I thought it was worth looking. Here's why because I agree with you, Gabe, Japan-Sweden should have goals. But if Japan score first, Sweden have to decide, are we going to chase this game? Because a draw does nothing for us. You're still finishing third, or do we now have to defend? Because we cannot all of a sudden be one of these teams -3, -4, and in range of missing the knockout stage. That's the trick of why I say this is a complicated slate here, where I don't know how Sweden, I don't think they're as good as Japan. I think they give up the first goal, and I don't know how they react to giving up the first goal. But we'll see if I'm right when that would come, Gabe, of course.
Listen, Sweden can score, right? They're a little like the 100%. Czech Republic. They're going to attack you, but they give up a lot of chances. The Japanese like to counterattack. They're much more disciplined, but they're also there's a lot of finesse on Japan. There's a lot of technique. There's a lot of skill on this team. And tell you what, Kevin, we talked about a lot of sleepers and stuff. Japan are one of those teams. So I was with you. I thought Japan had a legitimate chance of knocking off the Netherlands in this group. They tied them in the first game, right? And then we saw the Netherlands just sort of dial it up a notch, and right on cue, Sweden with a scoring opportunity. But with that being stated, I don't think anybody plays for a tie, Kevin. I really don't. You play for a tie, you die. That's like playing prevent defense before the game starts. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that if a team knows they need a tie in 10 minutes with 5 minutes left, they know they need a tie. But you can't just say, we only need a tie, so we're not going to play as hard, right? Not to mention Japan is thinking the same thing that you're thinking, right? They're hoping, they're not looking at the scoreboard right now, but they're hoping that there's a miracle on the grass here and that Tunisia knocks them off and we win the group right? So I think everybody's all in. And the other thing is, too, we saw it last night. Haiti had been eliminated, and that was one of the most spirited efforts that we've seen, right? That was one of the most spirited. They ended up falling short and hitting the wall. But I got to tell you, earlier today, as good of a game it was going to get, and a situation in a game in which Germany didn't need it, Ecuador needed the win. Ecuador hadn't scored a goal in the tournament yet. Big time dark horse sleeper. Everybody like Ecuador coming into this tournament. They're on the verge of going home because they can't score. They give up the first goal in the first 2 minutes of the game, and they end up winning the game. It was special stuff.
No, it was, and I don't mean to interrupt you. We'll talk more about that. But Tunisia, congratulations. You are the worst team in World Cup 2026.
2-0.
Congratulations. No fight, no heart, embarrassing. And listen, I think the Netherlands are great. We've talked about it, Gabe, but this is bad. I mean, this is bad. It's 2-0 6 minutes in. And this is why I just took one long shot with the Japan thing, because now, if you are Japan, and I'm not saying they're going to, but you're not going top of this group. You're not. You're not beating Sweden by 5. By the way, the Netherlands might beat Tunisia by 5 type of deal, right? So just the route is absolutely on, Gabe. What do we do with this live total now? Because the goals, I mean, it's 2-0. Live
They're not
total
going to
4.5
stop.
minus 188 to the over. Goodness.
They're not going to stop.
I'm not getting in front of this right now. I am not getting in front of this at all.
You shouldn't, and you know what? I don't want to pull a Teddy Covers here, but why'd you bet that? I don't have a choice. Now I know how Teddy. Now I know how Teddy felt when he said that. But like, yeah, I want to know part of this. I want to know part of Tunisia tonight. We laid the, you know what? We laid the goal and a half, and I thought even 2.5 is fair at plus 100. They're just ruthless against inferior opponents. The Netherlands. Right, they're the type of team that covers the spread. Like, if they were the college football team, they'll run the score up on you. And they're playing for the group, and they want to keep this momentum going right now. This is a pretty ruthless attack. And I don't disagree that there's going to be hell to pay in Tunisia, but they already fired the coach, Kevin. What more can they do? They're going to fire this guy.
But that's why, Gabe, if I were the manager, I would almost be like, it wasn't my fault. They fired me after a game, and the response was this. Told you guys, it wasn't me. Japan 4-0. The Netherlands might win this game 5-0. Like, I understand you think I could have done better. Are you sure? Because these guys showed no fight. I mean, they're just getting abused. And to your point about Netherlands kind of covering the spread, like, they are having a blast out there, Gabe. Like, they're not going to be happy at 2-0.
Well, we didn't even get to the news from last night, which we'll get to on the other side. We'll get to on the other side here, but one of my favorite gifts that I've seen today was a list of the teams eliminated from World Cup contention, and it had the New York Jets logo on it.
All right, guys, back on SportsGrid in-game live. Kevin Walsh, Gabriel Morency, and Gabe and I were talking a little bit during the break. We're obviously following the live action here, but Canada, the Canadian men's national team had one of the craziest roller coasters a nation's probably ever had. They lose at home to Switzerland, which is just a real gut punch. They were in that game. It meant you were going to play another game in your home country, maybe two, and by the end of the night, you see a South African upset that gets you a draw in the round of 32 more favorable than you could ever dream. It's not to be dismissive, Gabe, but there are not a ton of teams that Canada would be minus money favorites against. South Africa are one of them. It's an unbelievable, and I said it, but I was going to defer to you, but I saw you then tweeted and agreed. If you're Canada, you'd rather be second, go to LA and play South Africa than win the group, stay at home and play Belgium.
You're exactly right. And listen, Belgium, isn't officially locked into that spot yet. That's the current standings, but
yeah,
it's disappointing. Of course you want to play at home. And for the record, it's ridiculous that they're not. I've talked about this, right? That Mexico, had to leave and Canada have to leave. For the record, Canada, and I love the irony of this. We set a record, Kevin. Canada, the first host nation ever to play a World Cup game on the road. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. But nevertheless, we just saw Canada lose. So, yes, it would have been nice for people and, it's on home soil and all that. Well, they just played on home soil against Switzerland yesterday and lost.
Yep.
Right? And you saw my post was like, yeah, if I would have told everybody in soccer world that, yeah, Team Canada will be in the round of 32 and they need to beat South Africa to get to the round of 16, people would have ran through a wall for that. Right? Yeah, it's disappointing. You didn't win a group. Wake up call. You're not as good as Switzerland. Point blank.
Yeah.
You're not as good as Switzerland. No, but I'm being real about this. I'm just being realistic. The Euros are better, guys. It's just, it's a reality check.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, guys, too, right now, so the updated bracket, South Africa, Canada. And Canada opened up as a minus 150 favorite, Kevin. And I thought, wow, I think it's even going to go higher because everybody sort of had the same thing. Wow, Canada really just got a lucky break here. But I don't know if it's what people remember last, but they've been hitting South Africa, so the number has come down. But speaking of the Netherlands, the winner of South Africa, Canada, will face the Netherlands-Morocco winner. And you know what I want to bring up, even with last night's stuff change, Kevin, with Canada, suddenly South Korea's in USA's way. That wasn't the way before. That flipped. You went from, New Zealand, Iran's of the world and stuff like that. Now suddenly you got Egypt or South Korea, Kevin. And I know you respect the hell out of Mo Salah, and Egypt can play. And now you got South Korea in the mix who are good. U.S., people didn't realize, I posted that last night at the time, too. I said, by the way, USA's path just got a lot trickier because of what just happened in the South Africa game and all this.
It was always supposed to be Egypt. But now, if Egypt do play South Korea, it's not like if Egypt were to be upset, you'd be like, oh, great. South Korea would certainly be tricky. How about this, Gabe?
I want Ecuador. Who gets Ecuador? It's not official that Ecuador is in yet. That's why,
at the moment, it looks like Mexico, which I was just going to say, Gabe, are we all of a sudden going to see, of the three host nations, the team with the shortest price be Mexico in Mexico?
What?
I think so.
What a nightmare, whoever gets Ecuador. I got to tell you.
But could you imagine, Gabe?
They were one of the hottest, trendiest teams with all the soccer nerds coming into this. Point blank.
100%.
They couldn't score. They couldn't buy a break. This is almost like hand of God stuff. I watched the game. I was nearly crying. I felt Ecuadorian. And it's funny I say that because I felt Ecuadorian the other day, Kevin, the other night when I lost money on Saturday, and I got a lot of pops on that on X when I posted that. I said, I'm so angry, I feel Ecuadorian right now about the game. I was literally yelling in Spanish alone in my room. Just So today, and a few people dismissed me in the past week. I think Marcelino, it might have been you, a couple of people when I brought up, or maybe it was Vasil, when I said, Ecuador's not done yet. And everyone, they're done.
No,
wasn't you?
Me.
But
I was all over.
They were
Ecuador
they're
today.
done.
No, I loved Ecuador.
Yeah, good
today.
call. Good call.
I've been trying to fade narratives, and even I was like, no. We need some Ecuador. Double chance. There was a long shot money line thing that I used Ecuador with. So Ecuador plus 1.5. The one thing, Gabe, that I laughed at, and everyone loves the manager of Ecuador, the long hair, the outfits. They score the goal to go up 2-1.
Fabio.
He jumps into the crowd. And my first thought is like, there's 25 minutes left. But then you remember, like, all they have to do is defend, and that's all Ecuador want to do. Like, in that moment, he was like, we obviously won this game. No one scores on us. They scored. They got lucky. Most people didn't think the opening goal should have counted. Like, you watch Ecuador, it is a miracle to score on them. Like, they get every ball. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, they gave up 4 goals in 18 matches, and they were playing against the Argentinas and the South American teams in the world. Like, they are good, this team. Like, that's why people thought, look, put it this way, Kevin. Like, I was kicking myself. I'll read you off the list of teams that I put in the parlay. And I was kicking myself, like, earlier in the week. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, why did I put Morocco in this? They were 10-1. I was like, that's not good odds. Like, what? No, let's do it. All right, so this was to advance. Canada, yes, minus 700. Mexico, yes, 10-1. France, yes, minus 2,500. Ecuador, yes, 10-1. Japan, yes, minus 400. And it turned out to be like minus 105 type of thing, minus 103. And Japan aren't officially in yet, but they're getting in. They've already got points. Like, they're getting in.
Yeah, it would be stunning. Because the idea seems to be, Gabe, if you have 4 points, you're through. That seems to be just kind of the notion everyone's working with there. So I think they're going to be just fine.
I want to see some goals here, though. I've got my eye on that game more than you. Like, we're sort of assigned games here. You opened up hot fire over the Tunisia game. The hot take of the day is Tunisia the biggest embarrassment of the World Cup. You better never go to Tunisia because they'll love you for calling it like it is.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen, too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
All right, guys, back right here on SportsGrid. It's In-Game Live. It's Kevin Walsh. It's Gabriel Morency. We are still scoreless in Sweden, Japan. We've not taken a hydration break yet. 2-0 Netherlands on Tunisia. Which game did you need no cards in before the hydration break?
Japan.
I don't think there's a card in either game, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to...
Yeah, Japan and Sweden.
Game?
Minus
No
185. Minus 185.
That's not bad. I feel like it's very rare we see a card 20 minutes into these games with the way the tournament's been.
Yeah, the way, especially at this stage too, right? Players are so aware of this. And listen, there's been a lot of talk about how the cards reset, etc. So, because with the expanded format, so it resets after this group stage.
Yep.
It resets after the group stage. But if you already have one and you got tagged today, you still would be suspended for the next game, etc. But it doesn't carry over if you have a card.
Play.
Yeah, exactly. So if people are wondering, and then it resets again after, right? So it'll reset again after the quarterfinals. So there's a couple of resets here, but that's a big key tonight, Kevin. And Pochettino really hasn't been too secretive about it. I'm sure you saw his quotes as well. Mm-hmm. He said, well, it's obvious what we're going to do with the players that have yellow cards.
Yeah.
And the thing is with the U.S. guys, their key players have yellow cards, Kevin. It's not like, oh, yeah, it's one of the backup defenders. It's like, no, like a bunch of our star players have yellow cards.
It's insane. It's actually crazy. It's not even like it's just the defenders. Like Flo Balogun has a yellow card. It's basically every guy you know other than Pulisic because he hasn't played it. Yep, Adams,
and Freeman doesn't.
Robinson.
Freeman doesn't. He's the only one. Freeman and Pulisic, yeah. And Pulisic doesn't have a damn yellow card because he hasn't played, barely.
Exactly. And no one thinks Pulisic should play in the match tonight, like kind of thing.
No,
so,
and he shouldn't.
Like, yeah.
Well, you know what? Well, I say that as someone that's thinking about betting on Turkey plus some goals, but maybe you want to get a couple of minutes out of him. You know what I mean? Just to sort of get him some minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, get him fit for the next game. But like, really, at this point, you don't want to risk injury. No,
he's not going to start because of what you just said.
As long as we're on it, what do you think of this game? Like, Turkey will play for pride, guys. I'm warning everybody. Like, they're not going to roll over. Like, if it was Sweden or Holland, they'd be less interested. Dude, people already want to throw, like, whatever, like, their food is back in Turkey at them when they get off the plane.
Yeah.
You compound, like, you went and then you lost to a U.S. team that played their backups. It won't go over well. And that doesn't mean they're going to win because of that, but they're going to bring it tonight, Turkey.
Guys, there are not a lot of teams that are going to leave the World Cup without any points. Some will.
Wow.
But not a lot. And Turkey being one of them is insane. Okay? And I've talked about the every team to score bet that the whole time I'm like, I know it's going to lose. Well, guess what? We're down to two teams. Turkey and Panama. Now, I'm probably going to have to, the Panama's playing England. Like, it'd be very funny to lose on the last match day like that. But the point is, everyone else has scored. Haiti, Ecuador, Cape Verde. Like,
everybody had their moment. That one Curacao had that one moment.
Listen, I know it's correlated, so you don't get like true parlay odds, but it's both teams to score parlayed with over 2.5 at -110. I think both teams score 2 goals. I think the game can fly. I don't think the U.S. are necessary. First of all, they're not that good defensively. They just kept their first clean sheet in 10+ matches, and Turkey have scored. You gave 62 shots, Gabe, without a goal.
Yeah.
Like, I think both of these teams.
That's a good point, Kevin, that you brought that up. They've had 62. It's not like they're not getting chances, guys, or don't have possession of the ball. It's one of these deals where they get in front of the box and they just can't finish it. They don't have that final touch, right? They haven't had that, but I tell you what, neither did Ecuador until today. Right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and how about Haiti, Kevin, yesterday? You want to talk about final touches? Oh, my God. These guys were kicking cannons like Mbappe yesterday.
I'm still not entirely sure Haiti aren't the best team in this tournament. Like,
yeah, me too. Like, I swear, it's one of those deals. If I was the Haiti coach, I'd be like, you know what? If we had one more game, we'd show you who we are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they.
Yeah.
And if you and I are on the committee, Kevin, and we're voting, we're putting Haiti in a play-in game. I'm like, yeah, we're not sending. We're not sending you home. We're not sending. Hold on, we're not sending you home. You're gonna hold on. Like, we're gonna figure something out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, especially because Gabe and I want more matches. Like, if Haiti would like to, you remember Gabe when like the Zach Wilson BYU team were trying to just find anybody to play them?
Yeah.
Like, if Haiti would be like, listen, we're not leaving America. Who wants to play us? Like, Turkey, you want to play? Like, let's go.
I would love if the tournament would say, you know what? We feel so heartened by you, Cabo Verde. And you guys, you play, one of you get in. You play each other.
Absolutely.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Their pitching has been really good in their bullpen too. So Chris Getz, their general manager, credit to him. This guy was getting pounded a couple of years ago for decisions and everything like that, but man, it is seemingly working out. The fans, by the way, all of a sudden are pouring in there. Their attendance is on the rise too. So a great sign that the White Sox are in this thing. Now, long term, I don't know. Like, is this a postseason team? Is it a deep postseason team?
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, guys, back right here on SportsGrid, and I got to give a shout out to, if Gabe were to hand out like 5 MVP awards of the knockout stage, or like 5 favorite people, the ref doing the Japan-Sweden game would make his top 5, because it's his boy from the Paraguay game. I don't know if you knew that, Gabe, but your boy is back, and I can already tell he's out here taking no nonsense from either Japan or Sweden. Like, he's ready.
I tell you what. This guy is one of my favorites. He's from El Salvador. Like, you can't, like, he doesn't play, man. Mm-hmm. Like, he does not play, especially with the South American dudes that try to, like, pull their drama with him. He shuts it down. You remember that, Kevin. That was literally, like, some of the funniest, like, interactions ever. Him and the Paraguayan goalie. And the Paraguayan goalie and his antics. Like,
yep.
They said, like, the ref finally came up, took the ball from him, and awarded a corner kick. He carded the opposing coach. He was like, all right, I've had enough. And basically, like, he looks like he wants to fight you too. Like, he calls you over and he's like, listen, you keep talking, I'm gonna punch you. Yeah,
he's small. Like, it's like, wait a minute, is this guy gonna really try and like beat me up? I don't understand. I'm way bigger than him. But
you know what?
Official.
I like him. And oh no,
he just gave out a card, and it was an easy card too. It was an easy card.
You got to be kidding. I was just thinking about how this card prop was going so well in this game, too.
I know. If they were deeper down the pitch game, it could have been red. No, honestly.
There it is.
Like,
but we did bet on Sweden to have more cards. Remember that?
Perfect. So
remember
you needed
that?
one.
We said Sweden, more cards. There it is. Yeah. I need at least one. Yeah. Like I said, guys, Japan don't have a single yellow card. Like, we're digging deep into this stuff, as you can see. They don't have a single yellow card. And I don't even want to bring up a time of possession bet, Kevin. Just for the record, I took Ecuador today. I had Ecuador. It was 59.5. I took Ecuador, like under. Like Germany was 59.5. I said, nah, they won't have the ball 59.5% of the time. Figured Ecuador needs the win. They'll be on the front foot. Like, you know what I mean? Yep. And I thought it was good during the game, Kevin, because they got the lead. I was like, this is perfect. And they had the ball a lot. Somehow, 61-39.
Oh,
like, dude, I'm tired. Like, I've lost by a 0.5% in 1 point. Like, I'm like, I like to say I'm done with these, but I'm gonna get them back once. I got to put like $2,000 on 1% possession. I got to find the right game, Kevin, and I'm getting the money back because it's bothering me now.
There will be a game. It's funny.
Let's take a look at tonight's games. Let's look at the percentages for tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, I'd be interested in those Australia-Paraguay percentages because that is a game.
Shouldn't that ball be bouncing around a lot?
I think it's the lowest total we've seen in the tournament so far. I saw the game was booked at 1.5 minus 150 to the over. I don't think we've seen. I was all excited so far in the tournament.
I was all excited about betting the under 2.5 in this game. It's minus 300 under 2.5.
It's insane. Yeah, it's a parlay piece at best.
So watch it be a track meet. No, but honestly, everything. As soon as we assume anything in this tournament, but my own personal opinion for that match, and we'll be on for it later, is I do think it's an under. Paraguay listen, you give credit to the U.S. because Paraguay are good. They're not great. It's not get carried away. But they're good, and they generally are hard to score on. So we'll give credit to the U.S. for breaking them down, but, first games are always weird for teams. I could see Paraguay causing problems for Australia. Like, I got Paraguay winning this game like 1-0.
It's interesting. I was thinking maybe Australia 1-0.
Well, you know what? Somebody scores. Like, both teams to score, could be a bet here. Like, because, you and I talk about what happens if somebody scores. Somebody scores here, the other team's going to go in a lockdown mode, right? They're not going to, the other team's going to try to push it. They both want to win the game. I've got under 3.5 alt line in 1 million parlays already, and I've got it's kind of the opposite of you. I put Paraguay in plus 0.5 in an alt line parlay as well with somebody.
Here's the thing. I don't really hate it. So both teams with the draw, we assume advance. The difference, though, in the projected bracket is if you finish second, you play Belgium, and if you finish third, you play Germany. Obviously, there's a big gap in those things. Now, you're going to be a dog regardless. The difference, though, is if Australia were to get up a goal, Paraguay would be sat on 3 points at a -3 goal differential, which is very tricky. And that's the danger zone. And that's when they get put in this balance of, do we need to go find a way to draw this game? Or do we sit here and say, fine, 1-0, but it's not any more than that? And that's that's why these games are so fun and so interesting. Because now, if Paraguay score first, I'll tell you this right now, they might not shoot the ball the rest of the game. Because they're
going to pass it backwards.
Correct.
Yeah, they'll pass it backwards after.
Just dribbling. That's all you'll see.
And Australia is scrappy as well, right? Like Australia they're not the most skilled team. Like that's their thing. They're not very skilled, but they work hard, right? They're, the old Australian willpower.
The Australia-USA game where the corners flew over. We ended up with Gabe? 7 cards, not corners, cards. We ended up 7 cards in the USA-Australia game. Like, it was very chippy.
And I'm not in a hurry to bet the under in cards in an Australia-Paraguay game either.
Now, interestingly enough, I did bet the under cards. I did.
You did. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? They could get into it. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? They're just sort of the contrast of the types. Like, Australia tackle hard, play hard. Paraguay are like the classic South American, like, diva team. Like, like we've seen it. Like, nobody embellishes and acts. And, like, they're actors. They're like soap opera actors. Like, everything is, like, emotional. Like, they argue with the ref about every little call. Right? Like, their goalie plays little mind games and kills time all the time. Like, they're a fun team to watch, though. I like their antics. Like, you know what I mean? It's that South American football, right? Funny. So, I like their antics. I'm looking forward to that game tonight. But just for the record tonight, Kevin, like, what do you think the sports book would make? What do you think the time of possession for USA is tonight? Not what your own personal opinion, but what do you think a ballpark figure of what the sports books think?
I feel like the U.S. have actually not been super dominant. And Turkey, because they keep trailing and then they dominate.
Turkey do have the ball a lot.
I'm thinking maybe like Turkey 53.5.
It's USA 53.5. So you got the number right. Good call.
I don't think.
But it's USA. USA over under 53.5% possession tonight. So in others, will they have the ball 54% of the time against Turkey?
This might be the one. Let's go look through these numbers. This could be your one, Gabe. The USA had 62% against Australia. First of all, watch that whole game. No, they didn't. You know what? They did
that's another thing too. That's another thing too, Kevin. I'm glad you brought that up because I really have a problem with today's Ecuador one. I don't believe it.
Yep.
Ecuador had the ball a lot. I swear to God, I was watching it and I was like, yeah, Germany 57. Like I kept my eye on a 55, 57. Germany was lingering. Early in the game it was 62, but then it settled in at like 55, 50%, 57%. And at the end, 61. I'm like, I don't know how that's possible when Ecuador had the ball so much in the final 20 minutes of the game. But it's every little of those little sequences at the end when Germany started pressing. That's what cost me. But
So
I was
just
thinking Turkey tonight, but I'm not getting enough. I was hoping like USA was going to be like 57 or 58% or something.
Well, that would have been. Turkey's had over 70% of the ball in each of their first two games.
Wow.
And this is why
They could have the ball tonight too.
If they're trailing, they will have the ball the whole game. Now, neither one of us think they're going to be trailing as much as the sports books do, but even if it's like Turkey are not going to sit back and just defend like they're live. Nothing matters.
I'm going to walk into another one. Hey, Walsh, I got to take Turkey.
Kind of
plus 57.5%. Let's go.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one that elevates you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like we said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
In-game live, I want to actually throw a question your way, Gabe. We were talking about just kind of the bracket and different things and the projected incredibly quarterfinal matchup of Spain-USA. In your mind right now, Gabe, if we do see that match, it would be held in, I think, Dallas, maybe? Or it might be held in, I think it would be held in Dallas. The point is, for you, what do you think the number is? How big of a favorite would Spain be against the U.S. on a 3-way money line?
Minus 200 range? 250, 225, 250?
At minus 200, I might have to bet Spain.
Like USA.
Yeah, they're going to be in every parlay, aren't they?
USA will be like plus 475, plus 500 on the money line. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're. Because you know what?
It's Spain, guys, right? It's Spain. Like, listen, in American, American sportsbooks, DraftKings and FanDuel, etc., they're going to pinch it a bit, but like the Euro books are going to like Spain's going to get hammered in that game, right? Like parlays and this and that, like.
Yeah. Like, it's hard to imagine a world where, like, Spain could.
It's a lot of pressure on Spain, though, in that game. Just for if that happens, we're just saying hypothetically, right? Because it's Spain versus Austria, Portugal versus Ghana. Those two winners would play each other. So let's say hypothetically, all right, Spain plays Portugal. Portugal could win, but Spain wins. But that's who the USA would have to play after. You can't like play Australia and Paraguay forever. So like you're gonna have to eventually play. So you got USA versus Bosnia right now, who I'm telling you, Kevin, are a scrappy team. Hey, Bosnia, they just find a way. This team all the time. And you got Egypt, South Korea winning.
Shut out Bosnia, so the U.S. will have to be able to score multiple goals against them. And that was true going into the tournament. Bosnia are not a team who gets shut out.
One thing with Bosnia, Kevin, is they're mentally tough, they're physically tough, but they're resilient. Like they play against good teams. Like they're very just.
And they're happy with it. They'll be happy to. Let's go to extra time.
Oh yeah. They're going to try to keep it close. Yeah. Because they don't have the offensive firepower.
They got here on penalties too, right? Like that game gets to penalties. Bosnia are like thrilled, but it's not supposed to get to penalties as well. Like that will be a disappointment for the United States to not win that in the 90.
And as we stated too, France are at the top of that, so it kind of sucks. Like if you're Spain, you got to go through. It's unbelievable. Like they're Spain's bracket for like who they are. You got to go through Portugal, and then if you get through that, you go through the United States. But if you get through that, you got to deal with France after. Like what I mean? Like so, put it this way for future bettors: France and Spain are on the same side of the bracket. They both can't get to the final. That's just I'll clarify. And so put it that way. They both cannot get to the final.
That's why another reason, Gabe, the Argentina number keeps shrinking. And I'm going to be super honest, guys.
And look at Argentina's path.
I didn't even know that when I bet Argentina.
They're playing Uruguay, Kevin.
Got to avoid everybody.
Yeah, I know. I did.
Get out, Gabe. I don't think Uruguay get out. I do not think they get out. They have to beat Spain.
I agree with you. And I don't think like Ecuador, they're going to pull it off because Spain is going to want to win still. Right, they're not like Germany. Like Spain still needs a win.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
So you take that out, so it's even easier then. So who the hell are they going to play? So Argentina versus Algeria, whoever the hell it is, whatever. But they play as of right now the winner of Australia and Iran after.
Argentina, I would argue, that are the number one. The bracket is cooked for them. Conspiracy team over even the United States, even over the U.S.
I don't know if it's a conspiracy or it worked out that way, but I don't know if you saw my post.
I don't think it's a conspiracy, but it's incredible.
Argentina and the USA have the easiest the USA did have the easiest path to get far, but they get punched in the mouth at the quarterfinals. Let's say they got it through Spain, France, so USA doesn't have an easy dance at the end of it. Argentina's been gift wrapped. Argentina was given a group with Austria, Algeria, and Jordan, Kevin. Meanwhile, you got France playing like these other teams. Like, you got to be kidding. We got to play Norway and Ivory Coast. Like, you know what I mean? These teams in Ghana.
Guys, that's why I bet Argentina. I knew how easy
good call
was. I know why their pedigree, but some of I didn't know that they wouldn't have to play Spain or France until the final guaranteed. That's a huge deal. Like, Spain and France were the 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, if you look at the bracket at their side, Kevin, look like who's the team. You're like, oh, that's who they have to play.
It's supposed
Colombia,
to be
Croatia, Switzerland,
Guys,
Algeria.
Do not tell me that England would be favored over Argentina. That's nonsense.
No. And the only other one is Brazil.
But at that point, you're talking semifinal.
Yeah, exactly.
You're talking
so that's what I'm saying. And that's their toughest test. Like, I'm just rattling off the teams in their world.
Brazil, you know that game.
Croatia,
from hope and everything. Right,
Croatia,
right,
Colombia.
I know they
Hasn't
Argentina owned Brazil recently?
Yeah, over the last 8 years type of deal. 6, 8 years.
I'm not saying forever. Yeah, I'm not saying forever, but just these cores, Argentina show up for a match against Brazil. They're like, oh, we're beating these guys. We're better than these guys.
Argentina do have not a free pass, but definitely there's no real dangers. Like we're saying, like Kevin said, if you look at Argentina, guys, they have to go through Switzerland, Algeria, Colombia, Croatia, England, Mexico is there, but Mexico and England are going to knock each other off. So Argentina would only see one of them potentially down the road. It really is gift wrap for Argentina to make it to the final. And, they knew what they were doing. They wanted this gift wrap to Argentina, Kevin, versus Spain or France. That's the way it was wrapped up.
But I'll tell you, the one thing is, if Portugal win the group over Colombia, and Gabe and I are not sure they will, we've talked about this Colombian team. It is supposed to be a collision course then between Argentina and Portugal, and that is the biggest World Cup match not in a semifinal ever.
Yeah, I think that's here.
I mean,
I think
it's in Kansas City.
Is that one in Kansas City?
Kansas City would be, Gabe.
Are you sure that's the
July
Kansas City
11th.
one?
Yeah. If it were to happen, yes, that is where it would be. Could you imagine Messi, Ronaldo?
But Ronaldo's not Ronaldo anymore, Kevin, so it doesn't have that buzz.
That's kind of the point, Gabe, in a way. I think that adds.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one to elevate you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, come on. After every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done. He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, he's driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day, de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
All right, guys, we're at the half of these 2 matches where 7 minutes in, we had 2 Netherlands goals. Nobody scored since then. Nobody. So it's a weird spot we find ourselves in, Gabe.
What's the total now then in that game?
Which one?
It's still got to be high. So it's still got to be what? So it's 3.5 plus this plus. All right. So over 3.5 is minus money. Under 4.5 is minus 250 in the Netherlands-Tunisia game.
So you're looking for the under in the Netherlands game?
I think they might get 4. Yeah. That, you know what? They don't need to, Tunisia have taken enough abuse, Kevin. Are Netherlands really going to be, trying to gun for 6 or 7? I don't think so. They only needed the 3 points. They're going to get the 3 points. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Guys are going to start to get pulled, to your point.
Yeah, like
right?
they'll score again, and they probably bury a late one or whatever. Like, that's what I'm saying, 3-4-0. Like, I'm not saying to go under 3.5, but that 4.5 alt line at minus 250, I don't mind getting a head start in parlays. And the question is, what are we going to do? Are Japan going to dial it up a notch in the second half? Because you look at it.
That's what I'm trying to see.
They had 2 shots on target, 1 corner kick. Not a lot happened in this game. 1 card. Let's take a look at our patented shots on target and shot prop at the half here.
How does Sweden only have 2 shots? It felt like they just had way more of the ball than that.
They were flying around. I know, and the ball just wasn't getting through. Guys, Sweden have, Kevin, look, they're a desperate team, Sweden, too. They have 1 shot on target. The prop is 2.5 right now. You're telling me that a desperate Swedish offensive-minded team can't get 2 shots on goal in the second half here?
I'm worried they're not that desperate. I'm worried these teams are like, guys, 0-0 works for us too. I could be wrong, but I'm telling you that's what I'm worried about. Like, Sweden are in game if they get a draw. We know that.
Yeah. They also have to play France if they do this. Yes, you're right.
I know, but like we said, Japan are getting Brazil, like, it all kind of stinks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
why my deal with the Canada stuff. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. You can play in Vancouver all you want. We got to play the Netherlands if we beat South Africa. So I don't care if it's here, there, where, there. We're in trouble.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's always miracles. But one of those, you brought it up, one of those 16 games. I don't know if it's Brazil, because it was thrown around here the other day to me. Somebody said, yeah, you know what? Like Portugal really were sort of on a collision course to end up here. I think they still can, Kevin. I think that's what it would be. That's the one. It would be Switzerland, because as it is now, Switzerland would play Belgium now in Vancouver.
Yes.
And Switzerland would stay, the winner would stay here, and then Portugal would come if that happened.
Yes,
that was
absolutely.
what it is, yeah.
Round of 16, it would project to be Portugal, Switzerland, in Vancouver.
So
on
imagine
July 7th.
that could have been potentially Canada, though. That kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Just for the pageantry of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Switzerland replaced Canada in their spot. And I told you, that's why the Swiss coach wanted it. It's funny, something you said too. He said, all these teams are good. We're not really going to avoid teams. It's not really about that for us. He said, we like the fact that we could stay in Vancouver for like a couple of weeks and set up shop. He said, I don't like flying around all the time. We're not into a rhythm. And he goes, if we win, he goes, it's not about who we play. It's about knowing that we'll be in Vancouver for our next 2 games.
Mm-hmm. I think that is smart by him.
But
it's
Belgium are going to
funny.
win tomorrow night, Kevin. That's a big game against New Zealand. They're going to beat them, and then the standings are going to change.
That's the thing. This stuff's all going to get, like, all of a sudden the U.S. will end up playing Belgium anyway in the round of 16. They'll get
everyone's going to flip
yeah, you know what I mean? The one thing
I'm still waiting for Ecuador to see where Ecuador flies in. You said maybe Ecuador bumps Scotland out of the way?
76%, Gabe, for them to play Mexico on the Athletics broadcast. Which
all right.
I cannot
Poor
stress
Mexico.
How crazy this is.
Poor
Yeah,
Mexico.
Yes.
By the way, Kevin, what's the total of that game? 1.5 minus 250 to the under. 1.5 minus 250 to the under. Mexico, Ecuador.
That will be the most bet 0-0 correct score game of the tournament.
Yes. Yeah. Will it go to extra time, shootout, like all that, 90 minutes? Like, I'll roll the dice. They could play 120 minutes, those 2 teams, without scoring.
I was just going to say, guys, here's what that usually leads to. Gabe smartly using under 2.5 in every parlay, and me going, I took a chance. Give me the over 1.5. And we're going to be 12 minutes in. I'm going to be like, this game's going to have no goals.
No, there was a game last night where you and I were talking about, for sure there'll be goals. And I was thinking, man, 1.5's not even going to hit. And, dude, there's Japan and Sweden. Where are the goals? I'd like to be some goals.
I was gonna bet the over.
I'm taking shots on target. Both teams over second half. Japan over 4.5. Sweden over 2.5.
We'll be back for the USA game tonight.
USA.
He gives them a chance, but they've got to keep putting people around him. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know that he's the one to elevate you all by himself. I think he still needs the help. Excellent player, perfect guy to lead your organization, perfect place for it. And by the way, I'd start him from day one. I wouldn't waste any time on it. But got to put pieces around him, and John Spytek has already started doing that.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
This is the third time he's been medically checked. Even the refs coming over. He's like, dude, like come on. Like after every sort of play in front of the net, the kind of goal he's done.
Yeah.
He's
stop jumping.
He's on the turf, like you said, like he's like driving off the top rope. Look at him here again. I give him credit. He's freaking fearless.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for el verano más futbolero de tu vida? Latination Football Club turns into Copa Nation, our live stream experience every day de lunes a viernes, 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. Pacific as well. Checking in after the games. In that slot between games, we got you, my friend. We're going to have celebrities, legends of the game, content creators, and a bunch of our friends that are going to keep you entertained and informed, letting you know what's happening all across the 3 countries that are going to be experiencing this crazy, crazy football tournament. Don't miss it. Copa Nation right here on Latin Nation every day. Check it out.
That's right. Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smiley Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smiley Show. We are thrilled to be joined now on the Smiley Show by a man who has been one of the preeminent storytellers at ESPN across a number of different sports for a number of years. Wright Thompson